telescope is an extension of its owner that allows us to peer into the universe to see nature on the grandest scale, with wonders that boggle the imagination. All right, this is Galaxy Log for October of 2022, and the subtitle Beginning. Meaning that the telescope that I use for this Galaxy Log has some meaning to it in its aperture. And what I'd like to do is first play a video of that I did about what got me into deep space observing, and then into heavy duty galaxy observing. Well, it was 50 years ago, for my 13th birthday, that my parents knew I was getting more and more interested in astronomy. In 1969, I had a 60mm refractor as my first real telescope. But other than some nice views of the moon, a couple of the planets, and some double stars, the quest for the many great objects beyond the solar system was not really available with this limited aperture of 60mm or 2.4 inches. So in 1971, I received from my parents the Edmonds 6-inch f8 reflector, and here's where the actual fire was lit. Up to this time, all my observing with the 60mm was in our backyard or the school ground across the street. Though reading through some literature, it said best to observe those objects beyond the solar system was to get away from the city or town lights. Well, my great uncle lived outside of town on a huge 50 to 60 acre estate. And some of my friends may know where it is, next to the old Bethel's Dairy. Of course, 50 years ago, that whole area was mostly just farmland, so light pollution was very low, meaning good dark skies. On a very pleasant, clear moonless night in late spring of 1971, my dad took me and the telescope out to my great uncle's. I remember so clearly my first view under those skies was an object that I really wanted to see, called Messier 57, or the Ring Nebula. I found it no problem, and there it was in the eyepiece, a bluish glowing Cheerio ring. Wow. Then I swung the telescope to another Messier object, but this time a galaxy called Messier 106, and the view was amazing, seeing a whole galaxy. I was hooked for life, and eventually getting bigger and better telescopes. It was that magical night, with that 6-inch reflector, that we come to today. So this past Wednesday night, from a dark site, with a newer 6-inch reflector, and also a 4-inch refractor, I celebrated a 50th anniversary with many great views, and ending the night with one final view of the Ring Nebula through the 6-inch reflector. A telescope is an extension of its owner that allows us to peer into the universe and see nature on the grandest scale, with wonders that boggle the imagination. Our first galaxy for this Galaxy Log is NGC 7331 in Pegasus. Here's where 7331 is located, fairly easy to find. There's a closer up view of where NGC 7331 lies. And here's my near view image. The date is October 21st. Here are the particulars of this galaxy. It's a bright galaxy, fairly large galaxy. Its type, its distance. Photograph from a sky survey of 7331 and some background galaxies. And for this near view image, the telescope was a 6-inch f5 Newt. The eyepiece is a 7mm, 109 magnification, and sky conditions were very good indeed. It was a very good night for this dark site. So here's 7331. It showed a nice, large bright inner structure, little stellar nucleus, and then it extended very well, almost going north to south. Bit of modeling to it. It really looked nice in this eyepiece. Now the background galaxies, the brightest one is NGC 7335. You go up here to the sky survey images. There's two others, others than these two here. These couple here. There's actually three right here. 7335 is the brightest of these background galaxies, but it's over 13th magnitude and was not seen at this dark site. But the main galaxy, the foreground galaxy, the great NGC 7331, looked really good in this near view image, and kind of shows you that even with a telescope and how I was influenced in deep sky astronomy by a 6-inch telescope, by a 6-inch reflector, does show that you can get some really nice, under good sky conditions, some really nice views of galaxies, especially the brighter galaxies like this. Next is NGC 524 in Pisces. And here's where it's located in the constellation. There's a closer up view of NGC 524. There is a bunch of other galaxies in this area. This is the brightest galaxy here in this cluster of galaxies. It's in this region of the sky. And the other galaxies were not seen. It was just the brighter 524. Okay, here's the particulars. It's a bright galaxy. It's 10.3 magnitude, high surface brightness. It's not very big. It's pretty small. Here's its type and its distance. It's fairly out there. Here's the sky survey image of what it looks like. And for this near view, I used a 7mm eyepiece at 109, and like I said, the sky conditions were very good. The galaxy, you see, it's very round. You can actually see by the sky survey, it's very round. And a nice bright little core area, then faded out fairly rapidly. But with a very vision like that, it actually grew in size. You can actually see more of the galaxy. But it was a galaxy that with a smaller scope I haven't gone with before. I've seen it in larger scopes, looking at some of the dimmer galaxies that are in this region, which is a nice region to view with a larger telescope. But I never went through this galaxy, saw this galaxy with a smaller scope, and I thought, oh, this should be pretty easy to pick up with a 6-inch reflector on a pretty good night. So this is the reason I went for it. So it's another good galaxy if you have a smaller telescope to go for it to see a galaxy. Then it's went into Perseus for NGC 1023, which is a favorite galaxy for many observers of the fall sky. It's just a wonderful galaxy. Here's where it's located in Perseus. It's actually pretty easy to find. There's a close-up view of where 1023 is located. And here's the near view image. You can see it's a very bright galaxy. It's 9.4, so it's bright. It's as bright or brighter than a lot of Messier galaxies. Even in the spring, some of the spring Messier galaxies, there's a surface brightness high, so it's a fairly good sized galaxy. Its type, fairly close by galaxy at 30 million light years. For the near view image, this is a 5mm eyepiece, so it gave me 152 magnification, and it was a really good view. This part of the sky at the dark site I was using, was really good, nice, really dark. So the galaxy stood out really well. Showed this small, bright, round core, little tiny stellar nucleus, and then its outer parts then going east to west. Showed up fairly well, especially with very vision. It really grew out Your eye kind of catches on to that really bright core area. But you use a vertivision, you can really see this galaxy grow a lot. It's really neat too because it has this line of stars that's right near, and it kind of enhances the view of the galaxy itself. Now, on the survey image, and I've done this galaxy with the scope that's 4 times its size, which is the 12-inch f4, and it has, you can see here, there's a companion galaxy that's called 1023A right here, and I couldn't see that with this telescope. It was I could see, I saw it, and when I did the near view image with the 12-inch, you could see the 1023A, but I couldn't see it with the 6-inch. It's beyond at least this telescope and this dark sight. But the overall view of 1023 was really nice. It's in a really nice star field, and it's just a really nice galaxy to go for. And even with a smaller telescope, you can see it, get some really nice views. I had some nice views of it with my 4-inch refractor not too long ago also. Here, the last galaxy that I viewed this night for Galaxy Log is in Andromeda, and is actually the large companion galaxy of the Great Andromeda Galaxy, called M110. And here is where the Andromeda Galaxy is located. Of course, in dark skies, it can be easily seen with the naked eye. Great view in binoculars. I really highly recommend looking at the Andromeda Galaxy with a pair of binoculars. Here's a close-up view, and there's the Great Galaxy, the Andromeda Galaxy, and here's one of the other companion galaxies, M32, which stands out very well. If you're losing lobe magnification, it almost looks like a fuzzy star. And here's M110, the larger of the 2 companion nearby galaxies. Here's the particulars. It's a bright galaxy as far as magnitude, 8.1. The surface brightness is 14, so low surface brightness. Its size, it's large. Its type, and of course its distance, is an image of what the galaxy looks like. And for this near view image with the 6-inch, I used a 9mm eyepiece, which gave me 85 magnification. And when I viewed the galaxy here, it was almost directly overhead, in a really good position to view the galaxy itself. The galaxy didn't show any like stellar nuclei or something like that. It showed this brighter inner region, and then it's elongated going north to south. And then with a vertivision, it really grows out a bit, very mottled looking to it. And it's an interesting satellite galaxy, but as I said, dark skies definitely help. You get into light polluted skies with its low surface brightness, it could be a difficult object to view. M32, completely the other way, much smaller, but really high surface brightness, even in light polluted skies, can be seen. But M110, it's an interesting satellite galaxy to view, and seeing, of course, the whole complex of with a wide field eyepiece is also, which most people do. But I thought that in this instance, I would just go to the large satellite galaxy, and the telescope gave a really nice view of it. This is a summary of this galaxy log. Well, as far as the dark sight, I haven't used this dark sight for a while. I was heading to my usual dark sight, which is about a 30-minute drive north of me, and it was a detour. The road was closed to get up the mountain, and I wasn't sure, about the detour. It was heading me back another way. So I said, you know what? This site here is only about 15 minutes farther to the west. So I figured, okay, well, I'll just head to this site. I haven't been up there for a while. It's right along the Appalachian Trail, and it's a decent dark site. We used it for many of us have used it since the early 90s. So it was good to get back to it. And like I said, the elevation is pretty decent. It's 1,360 feet. Here's Google Earth at night, what it looks like. It's not quite as dark as our other sites, but this was a really good night. Really good seeing conditions. It was dry. The transparency was really good, and the seeing was very steady. This is the telescope that I used and the mount. As you can see, its nickname is Hypatia. This is actually my wife's telescope. It's a GSO 6-inch f5 Newt on an Explorer Scientific Twilight 1 all-azimuth mount. Really nice pair. The mount handles the telescope very well. It's a light tube. Optics in this telescope, in this particular 6-inch f5, is excellent. Really good optics. My wife used this for a big star party that our group does called Starfest in August, and she was on a particular object all night to show people, and it was the Dumbbell Nebula, and people just were really liked the view through this telescope. So optically, this telescope is very good. So it does give really nice views. But going back to like the video I showed in the beginning, using a 6-inch reflector, which got me into deep space astronomy, and seeing like the Ring Nebula, really for the first time, and then of course the Galaxy M106, and it gave me some really nice views. It was neat to then use this telescope as for this galaxy log. It was kind of a special galaxy log, thinking about the beginning of my adventure, going all the way back to 1971 of being a deep sky astronomer. As far as eyepieces, I used all the you could say ultra wide 100-degree plus eyepieces this night. For NGC 7331 and NGC 524, I used an APM 7mm XWA, brand new. In fact, it was first light for that eyepiece that night. Great eyepiece. I heard a lot of good things about it. I have other eyepieces, types of eyepieces in this near this focal length, but I thought this would be a good one to get for the 100-degree views, and yeah, it's really good. Nice contrast, good light transmission, really tight star images. Really nice eyepiece, really nice. For NGC 1023, I had the APM 5mm XWA, which I've had for a while, and really like this eyepiece. This has the 110-degree field of view. And then for M110, I used a Solar View 9mm Optimus, which I really like also. I got this one in the 5mm APM a few years ago at the Northeast Astronomy Forum, and yeah, I really enjoy using these eyepieces. But yeah, it was a really good match for this telescope. Just really great views for this night. And that's it for this galaxy log. Clear dark skies and happy galaxy observing.